right, so Konner, tell us who you are and what does a loan officer or a mortgage lender, and if there's a difference in all of that.
Absolutely. So my name is Konner Wright. I'm a mortgage lender with Bank South Mortgage. A little bit about me. I've been in the industry. This will be my 6th year in the business, 10th year in financial services industry altogether. So primarily what my job is to work through a mortgage approval with a customer, check their documents, their assets, their credit, income, and all those things to be able to make sure that they are credit worthy and to purchase a home. So I'm sort of your first stop when it comes to the financing to determine, if you're ready, and if not, what you need to do to get ready to purchase a home.
All right, great. So I think one of the things that I ask is when does someone know when they're ready? Like,
Absolutely. It's a great question. There's a lot of things that go into buying a home, right? Your income and your credit and your cash. But so it's easy to try to guesstimate when you're going to be ready to purchase a home. But the most important thing you can do is get your situation in front of someone like myself that can be able to take a look at it and tell you what direction to head from any certain avenue that we need to improve on, and at least get you a game plan to get in order. So I would say your first stop should be talking to a professional, letting them know where you sit and what you can do to get in position.
okay, so not looking at the house first, which is what we do in real
Right.
estate. Don't look at the house. Find out what your budget is first.
Exactly,
All right.
100%. Yeah, you want to start there. You don't want to end up looking at homes and you realize after you get approved that maybe you weren't qualified or maybe you're just not comfortable with the payment. So it's good to start here first, and then we'll help you. Then you can get out there shopping with full confidence.
Okay. Well, the question I know everyone wants to know. Okay, what credit score do you need to have to get a mortgage?
That is a great question. There's a lot of different credit score requirements. My usual recommendation and the minimum is a 620. So at a 620 credit score, you can purchase a home, and you can still get really competitive interest rates at a 620 for in the FHA mortgage. There are definitely benefits to having a higher credit score. Things like your mortgage insurance and your interest rate could change. But in order to get you in a door, in order to get you in a home, a 620 is really all you need to get started.
Okay. So we don't have to have the 720 credit score that I hear my clients talk about.
No, there's a lot of myths in the real estate industry. The 720 credit score, the 20% down, all of these things are not necessary to purchase a home. You can have a credit score in the 600 range, and we can make that work just fine.
Wait a minute. So you don't have to have 20% down to buy a house?
I can't tell you how many people purchase a home without 20% down. It's more than likely your vast majority. No,
Yes.
you can step in the home in most cases in a minimum of 3% down, and in a lot of cases, even with down payment assistance products, you can step in with less than that. So no, there's a lot of programs that can help you to be able to afford a home. But even if you have some cash saved up, the minimum is 3% down.
Wow. Yeah. I've been in the industry as a realtor for 6 years, and I also came from a banking and financial services background. And I can count on one hand out of all the number of closings that I've had in
One.
transactions. I think I've had, no, I've had maybe 3 or 4 that
Hmm.
have had 20% down. And those were people who, it was maybe like their 6th home purchase,
Right.
right? So they had a lot of cash. And the key is to get started, like, get the first home. So on that, you talked about things to help people get into homes financially, because we know, the economy right now, a lot of people just don't have $20,000 sitting around. But there's different ways to go about home ownership. And you said grants that we hear people talk about first time home buyer grants, or just that there's money out there to help.
Right.
Can you give us some insight on that?
Absolutely. So just like you mentioned, the good thing about the mortgage industry and the market in general is the market usually listens, right? As we have different changes in our economy and different changes in the overall, profile of what an average client looks like, you realize that there's a need for more things to hit the market to be able to help people. And right now, everyone is concerned about affordability. Being able to afford their mortgage payment, being able to afford to put the cash into the home. So again, the market listens and they provide products that are going to help you. So right now, there are a lot of different options for down payment assistance that are important. Different state programs or different programs that are just able to help you get that 3.5% up front. So that all you have to worry about is closing costs or whatever it may take to be able to get you in the home. Right now, there's a really popular grant that just became available again at the beginning of the week this week. It's through Federal Home Loan Bank. It's called FHLB grant. And that is a really awesome program that we're excited about right now, because it gives people up to $15,000 in closing cost assistance, and in some cases
Wow.
it can even go up to $20,000 depending on your income. And that is as clean cut as it actually sounds. If you fit certain criteria, such as income, it's usually based around where you live. But for example, in the Metro Atlanta area, that income threshold is about 91,000 for a single person. So if you were to be making anywhere less than that, you would likely have an opportunity to qualify to receive a grant that could help you with your closing up to about 15 grand, which is pretty significant cash.
Wow. Wow. So right now, a home buyer has the opportunity to get $15,000 or $20,000. And how much would it cost to actually they would have to bring to the table
Mm-hmm.
if they're getting 15,000? I know on a realtor side, we can also negotiate with the seller to help contribute toward those closing costs. So there's a
Absolutely.
potential where they could come to the table with $1,500.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, if you think about it, if you were buying a $300,000 home, if you were to do 3.5% down on a $300,000 home, it's $10,500.
Okay, he's
So
the math guy. All the numbers.
off the top of my head, right? So right there, if you have 15,000, 10,500, you've covered your 15,000, you've covered your whole down payment, and then you still have some left over for closing costs. And then, of course, just like Willie mentioned, if you have a little bit of seller pay closing costs to help you out, that could only chip away at the number even farther. So realistically, I've had people right now getting in homes, with less than $5,000 in their bank account, and
Wow.
and that is, something that is only doable right now in today's market. It has not been like that in the past. So it's a really opportune time for buyers who need closing cost assistance and need assistance purchasing and getting in homes. It's a great time to explore those options.
Wow. Wow. Because you're going to have to pay. I always tell you, you have to live somewhere, right?
Right.
You have to pay somewhere to live. So why not have ownership in something that's going to be yours?
100%. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing that's going to build wealth similar to a property. Even getting in that home, finding out how to get in that home that with a payment that works for you, with out-of-pocket cost that works for you. If you're able to get in that home now, it's very probable that you'll look up in a couple of years and have a ton of equity, and then you can use that equity for whatever you want. If you want to purchase your next home with it, you can do that. There's a ton of things that you can do when you actually get in a home ownership, but the most important part is you got to get in the game.
You got to get in the game. Great. So speaking of that, I'm going back to something you said. Now, with everything that we hear, why is now a good time from the mortgage perspective to get a mortgage, to buy a home?
Absolutely. And that's a great question. And right now, I have a lot of people that ask me that every single day. Is this a good time to buy a home?
Because rates are up.
Right. Quote unquote.
Rates are up. Home prices are up. Why?
Quote unquote.
Why would we want to get a mortgage?
So I'll tell you this. Number one, the most important thing is it is a buyer's market. And if you don't know what that means, the market sways back and forth to who has the most benefit and the most opportunity. And right now, the buyers have the most opportunity. Sellers are wanting to sell their homes. They're wanting to buy their next home. And so they're really willing to help out with incentives and things like that for the customers coming to purchase their home. So right now, in today's market, you're seeing more seller pay closing costs than you've ever seen before. Not only that, but we're at an interest rate environment where rates are starting to trickle down a little bit. So it's important for customers to know that they can buy a home today. And what's most important is it's not looking about the rate. It's about looking at the payment and how does that payment fit into your budget. If you have a budget and you see a payment that can work for your budget, if it's $2,500 a month, whatever the interest rate is, if that number works for you, then you can get in a home, and then in a couple years or even a year or less, you have the opportunity to look up refinance, because again, rates are coming down. Just these last 10 days, we've gone down almost a half a point in interest rate. Wow. So we started off the week about 2 weeks ago at a 7.25 national average. Today we're sitting at about a 6.75 national average in just a matter of 10 days or so. So things move quick in our industry, and right now there's a ton of benefits for buyers specifically.
Okay, I love it. And I know, thank you so much for your time today. I heard you say something also about credit. A lot of times I hear people say, well, I'm going to work on my credit. And I always ask them, well, how do you know what you need to work on?
Mm-hmm.
They say, I will have a friend who fixes credit, or I had a late payment a few years ago,
right.
So I'm paying on this and I'm doing that. Why should they talk to a lender like yourself first before they go and start fixing things or paying people to fix their credit and all of that? Why should they
Right.
talk to you first? And how can you help them?
Yeah. So what a lot of people don't know, and this is the most important thing about when you look at your credit, is a lot of people put a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of effort into fixing their credit, but you're kind of working with one hand behind your back because you don't necessarily know what your mortgage credit scores are. A lot of people don't know that FICO has a ton of different mortgage credit score models that are specific to different industries. So in our industry, we have mortgage specific credit scores that you just don't see on your end when you check your credit score. So you could see your credit score and you can see one number and you can think, okay, that's my credit score, I got to fix it. I could pull your score and have a totally different number. Most importantly, the things that you do to fix your credit score could matter for one credit model, but it may not matter for mortgage credit. So you could spend a lot of time and effort paying certain things off, bring balances down on credit cards, paying off collections, and then I could pull your scores and you still have similar scores to where you started. And that's where a lot of people get frustrated, but it's just the lack of the information. So what I normally do is I look at your mortgage credit scores, then we'll pull those in and we'll be able to tell you specifically what to do to fix those scores to get yourself in position to buy a home. A lot of the times it's a lot more conservative and a lot easier for us to do it than you to try to pay someone to do on your own. And more importantly, there's no cost to do that. We're happy to help our customers who want to buy homes.
Wow. So I got to break that down a little bit, for people who are watching this. So I can have a collection, I was in grad school 4 years ago and it's still showing for my credit report, $3,000. I can go pay that $3,000 to pay that off. And you look at it and that may not have even mattered that was on it. So I'm out $3,000 that I didn't have to pay that I could have put towards going into my new house.
Exactly. There's so many things similar to that matter for some industries, but not for ours. And so if you spend a lot of time and effort and money putting it into fixing your credit, you could easily get burned and realize that it didn't necessarily matter. So that is the most important thing, is let me take a look at your credit score. We'll figure out specifically what your mortgage credit scores are, and then I'll give you a game plan A to Z on what to work on in order to get your mortgage credit scores in a place where you can purchase and afford a home. That's the easiest way to the finish line, rather than doing a lot of work or paying someone and doing it yourself and then looking up and then you didn't get as much benefit for your buck as you think that you should have gotten. I would rather you put those dollars to good use, because in today's economy, like we mentioned earlier, every dollar counts.
Wow. Thank you so much. Mm-hmm. That's great. So hopefully that was helpful for you all. Continue to stay tuned. I'm going to do more helpful things like this for my clients and your family and friends. So before you go do anything, if you're thinking about buying a house, call me, Willie Nelson III, here in Atlanta, Georgia, 404-759-9270. Of course, you got all the information right there. Subscribe to this YouTube channel or wherever you're looking at. Make sure you continue to follow me. And before you do anything, call Konner Wright with Bank South. Give me your information as well.
Yes, you can reach me anytime. My phone is right here. This is a number that goes directly to it. 678-510-8372. Give me a call or text message. Available to help you any time of the week or weekend. Whatever I can do to make sure that you feel taken care of. Reach out. I'm happy to help you.
All right. Thank you so much. So we are still going from negotiations to celebrations here at Celebrate Realty Group, powered by Keller Williams, West Atlanta. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.